This is going to be 2.5 super obvious signs that your pool is dying, my friend. I'm so sorry. It took me 3 years to get to this point. Number one is anytime that you sense yourself pouring more money into this pool than you originally have in the past. We had this pool for about 3 years, and this past year it just became very obvious about midway through the season that we were just pouring more and more money into this thing. We spent about $250 on water to fill this thing. It's about 3,000 gallons, and normally it stays up, but it was pretty obvious that the water level was just going down, and we just got having to refill it. So obviously there were some leaks. Number two would be just leaking water, and you can't tell where it's from. You know, this pool, every single patch, we thought that we had every hole in this thing covered, and then when we pull it out for this year, it was just more and more holes, and again it just continued to decrease in the level and needed to be refilled over and over and over again. Less than ideal, especially on a hot summer day. We're on a well and we're putting all this water in, and it's super duper cold. It makes it less than ideal and not very nice to swim in, of course. And these costs and this hassle is just more than your typical maintenance of owning a pool, which is maintaining the water, keeping the chemicals squared away, keeping the pH monitored, all those pool type things. I mean, I joke that as a pool owner, it's rare that you're actually ever going to be in the pool. It's mostly going to be for your kids and for your neighbors, but it's super rare that you're going to actually be in the pool.
And now it's time to clean it out.
I was in the thing, oh gosh, maybe 3 times. That's a stretch for this year. A lot more last year, but definitely this year not so much. Myself pretty much having to deal with chemicals and leaks the entire time. And finally, we had a regular filter that came with this pool. We finally decided this year that we were going to get a sand filter, which was actually a really good purchase, and I do recommend that. Upper right hand corner, I talk about the filter, but it was a little too late. The old filter was leaking all over the place. In fact, my wife had to apply a ton of Flex Seal coating to just basically keep the thing from leaking, and even after probably 3 different layers of this stuff, it just continued to leak. Oh my gosh, it was so frustrating. But we finally got it to stop. We applied the new sand filter and everything was great, but it was just, you know, too little too late. The pool was already gone. And of course, being this tenacious and stubborn type, we just continued this pool this year despite everything. Now, I'd add on to number 2 is that we probably have outgrown this pool. It's a 15 footer, but it's not very tall. It's maybe about 4 feet. You know, we have 2 kids, there's 2 of us, we have the neighbors in there, and with these people getting bigger every year, this pool, we probably have outgrown it. By the time that everybody gets in there, there's not really a lot of space for anybody. And I think at this point, we could probably benefit from a pool that's a little bit bigger. And the 0.5 obvious sign that your pool is dying is when I am planning, my wife and I were joking about this. Basically, it would be a sequence that I go through all the process of getting things drained and cleaned and dried and put away for the winter, only for it to be taken out spring of 2024. And then we decide at that point, we're going to get a new pool and dispose of the old one. So it would have been a royal waste of time. That anytime you're going to drain water from your pool, just make sure you know exactly where that water is going to go and what vegetation is going to interact with. Also, if you've applied any chemicals to that water, maybe just give it some time to dissipate. I don't know how long it takes for these chemicals such as chlorine and that to get out of the water before it's safe to go around plants and such. For us, we have fruit trees and that, and so we did not want to have that water going anywhere near there, especially if there was going to be a bunch of chemicals that was going to irritate the trees. They've already been through enough this year. Also, to prevent flooding and, you know, standing water, mosquitoes, mud, and that, as the water is draining, just try to move it about your yard or wherever else. So, you know, you're not just pummeling one area of your yard with a ton of water. So alas, the decision has been made to take down the old pool, to get rid of the liner, which is super leaky, and then save the hardware as well as the old filter for future use, next use, some other kind of use. And I gotta say, today was a sad day. This is 3 years of memories that we are, you know, finishing, that we are getting rid of. Just like that. Yes, it's the pool, but there's a lot of memories and a lot of time spent there, a lot of good times, you know, with the kids growing up and everything. So it is kind of sad to see it come down. So I do want to point out the Flex Seal job that my wife did. She did such an amazing job. In fact, I had to use a razor blade shown here to cut away and get that thing pulled off. I mean, by the time it was over with, it was several millimeters thick, guys. It was on there good and solid. So good job. You did a great job, hon, keeping that thing from leaking, but it's got to go. So rather than turning this into like a super sad moment, I thought it'd be kind of fun to have like an upbeat montage of taking this down. It's about as interesting as a pool deconstruction video is gonna go. And so now the time has come to get rid of the pool liner. It's a vinyl liner, and originally it was going to be just throw it in the trash, get rid of it, but no. I know I can do better than that. I don't want to be throwing this thing into a landfill. So I did a little research, and I did find out that these vinyl pool liners can be recycled. In fact, if I could do it, I could just stuff it in that blue bin over there, my recycling bin, and then be done with it. But then I also thought, what else can you do with an old pool liner? There was a couple things, and about 1 minute later, I saw that you can actually use old pool liners, reuse as covers for different things, such as wood and other stuff that you don't want to get all messed up and exposed to the elements. Perfect. I've got some wood. I've got a fire pit. Wood can benefit from being dried and covered, so bingo. That's what we're going to do. We're going to actually save this pool cover and then use it as a cover for some other stuff. So it will have a new life. So it's not having to go into the recycling. And when I presented this idea to my wife, I was expecting her to say no, throw that thing away. She said, oh, okay. Unexpected. Of course, we have to have a hard work montage. Go. And there it is in its new forever home. I feel good about this. And now with that taken care of, we can take the hardware down, put it away. I take all the little pieces off, wash them off, dry them off, put them in a box, put them in a shed. Everything is a lot lighter without that pool liner there. Man, that thing is heavy. And just like that, the tarp that's underneath is taken away, cleaned off, stuff is put into the shed. All right, well, that's it for the... What is this? Pool supplies.